My whole life was irrelevant. My life on planet Earth didn't make any difference to me. I didn't care. It was as if I had walked in a movie and spent 17 years in a movie, and now the movie's over and I walk out. In 1955, that was my senior year in high school. 2 days before graduation, our class went on a picnic in a lake nearby our school. And this was in the suburbs of Detroit in Michigan. And it was the middle of June, and we went out for a big picnic and swim fest, and we were having a great time. And my friends were all on a floating platform about 50, 60 yards off the shore, and they were waving for me to join them. So I jumped in the water and I started swimming out, and about halfway to the platform, I got really bad cramps, and all of a sudden I can't kick anymore. And all of a sudden I'm starting to go down, and I'm go under the water. I'm start choking on the water. I get back to the surface again, and I'm waving my hands, and I can see my friends waving their hands back at me. They thought we were playing a little game. Let's pretend we're drowning or something. And then I go down for the second time, and that's my last time, because I never came to the surface again. And now I'm really in trouble. I'm panicking. I'm swallowing more water. I can't. I'm starting to get pain throughout my body. I'm sinking deeper and deeper, and now the water's getting really cold, and I'm shivering, and I can't control my shivering, and the pain is all through my body, and I'm feeling like every cell in my body is screaming out, it needs oxygen. I'm dying, and I finally acknowledge the fact that I'm dying, and I'm falling down deeper and deeper. Now all of a sudden I can feel something at the level of my feet, and it's the weeds at the bottom of the lake. And now I'm stuck in the weeds, and I'm falling deeper and deeper. And then all of a sudden I get some hope. Oh, I hit the bottom of the lake, but I'm in a sitting position. I'm sitting there, and I'm saying, oh, this is good, because now I can push my hands and maybe get to the top of the lake again and get some air. And when I push my hands alongside of me, they're stuck. Now I'm in the mud, and I'm stuck, and I'm terrorized, and I'm freezing, and I'm shaking, and my ears are ringing like somebody's sticking ice picks in me. It's horrible. And all of a sudden, in all of this chaos, I hear a voice in my head, and the voice says, Andy, you have to relax. And I say back to the voice in my head, are you kidding? I got to get out of here. I need some air. All I want is one gasp of air is fine. And the voice says to me again, Andy, no, you need to rest, and everything will be fine. And so I say to the voice, are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. Please, just rest. And I say, do you promise? All of this is going on while I'm stuck in the bottom of the lake. And I say, and the voice said back to me, yes, I promise. And then I said, okay, I'll let go. And when the word go formed in my head, I popped out of my body, and now in what I call a moment of no time, I'm in a tunnel. I'm in a tunnel with a bright light at one end, really bright light. It should be burning my retinas out, it's so bright. And then I turn and I look in the other direction, and I can see the bottom of the lake, and I see my body at the bottom of the lake. And I said, oh, I guess I'm not in my body anymore. That's fine, because I didn't care. The moment that I left my body and I was in the tunnel going towards the light, my whole life was irrelevant. My life on planet Earth didn't make any difference to me. I didn't care. It was as if I had walked in a movie and spent 17 years in a movie, and now the movie's over and I walk out. How do I feel about the movie? It was nice. Does it going to affect me? Do I feel terrible because I left the movie? Of course not. Did I feel terrible that my body was down there and that I had earth died? Of course not. I'm cool. This is the place to be. I'm filled with an unconditional love and feelings that after the 60 some years of trying to describe the way I felt, it's impossible. There are no words anywhere to describe how wonderful I felt. From terror, freezing, lack of oxygen, stuck, shaking like it's the end of the world, to ta-da! Oh my God, I felt so wonderful that I don't have words to describe it. It was fantastic. And then I'm looking at the light and I'm starting to move down the tunnel. But I know I don't have a body because I left it down at the bottom of the lake, but I have some form. There's an Andy. I call it my Andiness. I'm not in my body, but I'm still Andy. And now as I'm moving through the tunnel, being pulled like with a giant magnet, it's pretty cool. Anyway, being pulled down the tunnel, and all of a sudden, as I'm getting closer to the light, in the next moment of no time, I pop into a giant sphere, a ball. In the inside of the ball, I'm hovering, and there's a light presence next to me. I'm hovering in the middle of this ball, and all over 365 degrees, everywhere I look, are little like movie theater screens of all of the things that I've done in all of my lives, all at the same time. Countless, hundreds, thousands, millions, I don't know. They're just filled with the inside of this ball, inside of this sphere. And I understood them. I understood everything. I wasn't confused. It was like, whoa, what's all this stuff? No, it was, and I was able to relive any event that I focused on. And as I would focus on one, now all of a sudden, I relive it. There was one that I will always remember because it didn't happen yet. It wouldn't happen for another 5 or 6 or 7 years. But I was washing my brother's car, and we got into an argument over something, and we were arguing back and forth. Now, not only did I repeat that washing of the car, but I knew exactly what my brother was thinking and why he got angry at me and why we were fighting. So every time that I would relive some event, I relived it exactly as it occurred then, except now I not only knew what I was thinking when I was reliving it, but I knew what everybody else were thinking, thought about, their angst, their anxiety, as well as mine. So that was the wonderful thing about being in what they call now the life review, is that you review your life, but as you review it, as I reviewed it, I was able to know exactly what anyone else in that particular experience was thinking at the same time that we were having that experience. So that went on for what seemed to me like maybe a couple of days or a week or something. Now, understand that the entire Earth time that passed during this was probably somewhere between 5 or 10 minutes. I don't know. I didn't keep track of it. When I got into the light, I didn't care. Whatever happened to the Earth was irrelevant to me. And after spending some time in the sphere and experiencing all of these various things that have happened in the past and would happen in the future, as I experienced them, then all of a sudden, in a moment of no time, I pop out of the sphere and I'm back in the tunnel. And I'm still being pulled by this magnetic force towards the light, and I'm getting closer and closer to the light. And now I'm in front of the light, whatever that means. And I can see the light, and the light is super bright, and it's in the shape of like a target. Well, that's kind of what it looked like. It wasn't a complete form. It was something that I would say maybe would be a head and then some shoulders, but everything else was all white. And now I'm right up close to it. And that light says to me, Andy, don't be afraid. And I was impressed because the light knew my name and actually called me Andy, which was my Earth name. Andy, don't be afraid. And I wasn't. I was cool. And then the light said to me, Andy, I love you. And when the light said, Andy, I love you, there was a surge of feelings that I cannot describe, so I won't even attempt to describe it. And then the light said, Andy, we love you. And when the light said, Andy, we love you, the whole background of the light and the light silhouette melted away, and the background was filled with thousands, millions, billions, trillions of other lights. And I know they were lights just like me. And the light said in a chorus, "Welcome home, Andy." And that's probably the greatest thing I ever heard as a human and as a piece of the light. And I said, "I'm home at last. I'm home." I was so happy to be home. Oh my God, I'm finally home. And then the light absorbed me. I became a part of the light. Now, what does that mean, Andy? The light absorbed you. This is the best way I can describe it. Let's say that the light and all the billions of other lights, the light, which is everything, created from unconditional love, it is everything that is, was, or will be. Let's say the light is a large glass of water. And let's say that Andy Petro from planet Earth, is a spoonful of sugar. Now, if I take that sugar and put it into the glass of water and spin it around, and now I look at, oh, there's sugar water. So now I take that same spoon and I pull up a spoonful of sugar water, and I ask myself, where's Andy? He's everywhere. Where's the light? It's everywhere. I become the light. I'm not greater than the light. I'm not lesser than the light. I'm a piece of the light. And so is everything else that exists, that has ever existed, are pieces of the light. And all of these pieces make one light, which makes everything. So now I'm having all kinds of really wonderful experiences in the light. There is no travel, there is no time. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow all occur, I'm going to have to use this word again, at the same moment of time. And I've traveled the universe. I go to different universes, to planets. The light and I having a great time. And then I realized that the light has a sense of humor. It's a happy place. It's kind of like McDonald's. It's a happy place. It's not a stoic place. It's not, all these concepts I had of the afterlife. There aren't people running around playing harps. It's everything. And in the light, everything is known. There is no unknown. But when you know something, when you create something, when you think of something, it's the same feeling as if you're doing it for the first time. I remember back on Earth, there were many times when I was doing something that was very difficult for me. I did a lot of programming, computer programming, stuff like that, and I'd be working on a problem for days and days and days, and I couldn't fix it. And it was getting me, and it was irritated. And then one night, I wake up in the middle of the night, and I understand it. And I write the code down, and then I go back to sleep. The next morning, I get up, go to work, put it in, and it works. That aha feeling of spending a tremendous amount of time not knowing and then knowing, that aha feeling I've had hundreds and thousands of times in my life where I didn't know, and now I know. Oh, what a great feeling. That feeling, when the light and I were watching some of my experiences in the sphere, I'll go back to that for just a minute. The light would say to me, Andy, look at how upset and angry you got at that person. Don't you realize it's not important. It's not important at all. You spend so much time being angry. That's a waste of time. When you came to Earth, you came Earth to enjoy, to have fun, not to be angry over little petty things. So why don't you lighten up? I thought that was an interesting play on words. Why don't you lighten up and enjoy the time that you're here? And so we continue to do things, traveling all over the various universes. I could be talking for another 5 or 10 or 20 hours about all the things that I experienced. But the important thing is that the light and I were one. Any place I wanted to go, the thought I would be there. The light says to me, Andy, you have to go back. And I thought, what is this, a joke? I'm not going back. I'm home. Said the second time, Andy, you have to go back. And I said, no, I don't want to go back. I'm staying here. I've had enough. And the light says the third time, Andy, you have to go back. And now for the saddest point in my existence here. When I heard the K in back, I was stuffed back into my body. It was no longer on the bottom of the lake. I have no recollection of what happened, how my body got from the bottom of the lake to the sand on the beach, laying on my stomach with my head turned, and one of my classmates pushing the water out of my lungs, and I'm spitting and coughing. And at that moment, okay, I am now Andy back on earth. And I'm so sad. I'm so sad. I don't want to be here. And I'm coughing it all up. There was never a moment of blankness in my existence, in my talking. From when I drowned and let go into the light, spent all this time in the light, and now I'm back in my body, there are no blank spots. It was a contiguous flow of conscious thought. And now I'm get up, the water's out, it's like a miracle. It just says to me, Andy, tell us what happened. We thought you were dead. And I said my first great lie that I repeated for 25 or 30 years. I don't remember anything. That was a complete lie. 10 minutes of earth time in which I went into the light and did 100 years of stuff and then came back. That never changes. I remember that as if it happened yesterday.